35 yards. Dead kill shot, 35 yards. God, these bows are easy to shoot. Awesome. Totally awesome. Ain't nothing like it. What's up, guys? Thank you for joining me today on Instinctive Addiction Archery. I'm your host, Jeff Phillips. Hope and pray, as always, that you enjoy the video. And I really appreciate you tuning in. Hope to say, what are you up to today, Jeff? Well, I'm going to show you guys what's going on. It is almost hunting season, and I mean, we're right at the door of this hunting season. Okay, so what everybody does at this time of the year is they really dial their equipment in. And I mean, it's time to make sure that your stuff is right. Because usually once you start hunting, you're just not going to make a lot of adjustments. At that time, it's all you're going to be able to do is to practice. Okay, so you want to make sure that you've got everything dialed in to perfection. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys an example of what I'm doing right now with a particular bow that will certainly apply to a lot of people that are shooting fairly light poundage bows. I'll give you a little idea of a setup that's really effective for me. Arrows, there's such a variety of arrows that work out of different bows. Of course there are. As far as outside diameter, inside diameter, whatever, 204s versus standards and all that good stuff. But guys, I want to show you a bow. Now, I've used this bow in videos with the 204 inside diameter arrows. They shoot absolutely amazing out of this thing. They really do. But lots of guys have standard size arrows, and I'm going to show you guys what you can do with any standard arrow. I have some standard obsidian 244 inside diameter arrows that I wrapped and fleshed. These are Three Rivers arrows. Very affordable arrows. They're not high dollar, but they're extremely good. They truly are. I would compare these obsidians to a gold tip warrior. To me, they're just about neck and neck, and I love the gold tip warriors. They bear shaft tune so much better than a lot of the arrows do, just like these do. So anyway, I have wrapped and fletched these, and I am running 100 grain brass inserts and 200 grain tips because I'm shooting 200 grain broadheads. So that is 300 grains on the front of this arrow. My FOC is incredible with this arrow. It's well over 20%, well over 20. So these are going to penetrate extremely well. You say, what is the overall arrow weight that you're shooting? Well, this is a 39-pound bow at my draw. It's 41 at 28. I draw 39 pounds on this old battle one-piece reflex deflex longbow. That's what I'm shooting. And I built a set of arrows for this bow in a standard diameter, and that's what I used was the 500 spine obsidians by Three Rivers. Okay, so these here have a total arrow weight, and I am shooting some weight for such a light pound bow out of this one. These actually weigh a little over 500 grains. They're about 510 grains, especially with the lighted knock, but they're a little over 500 grains because I'm running 300 just on the front. But I'll tell you why, because I'm shooting a 500 spine. Now normally, if I was shooting any lighter point weight, I would go to a 600 spine where it could wrap around the shelf, because this bow is cut to center. Okay, so if I was going to shoot, say, 200 grains on the front or 175, whatever, I would be shooting a 600 spine out of 39-pound bow all day long. At my draw, which is 27, and even if I had a 28-inch draw, I'm still thinking a 600 spine would be the ticket for this bow. But since I'm shooting 300 up front, the 500 spine works really well. And as I've mentioned before, you want to shoot the stiffest arrow that you can possibly tune to your bow, so that when it hits the animal, the arrow doesn't do a lot of flexing. You don't want the arrow really flexing once it makes impact, because you got to think, if a bow is shooting even 160 or 70 feet per second, whatever, even if it's only doing 150, as it's flying through the air and it makes contact with a body of an animal like a deer, the arrow instantly the brakes come on. I mean, it is absolutely going to just pretty much just come almost to a stop. That's where the build comes in. Stiffer spine helps the arrow not to flex as much when it makes impact, so that it drives deeper and gives you better penetration. So you can get by with light poundage bows and a really good arrow build and be very effective on killing deer, okay? Especially with a sharp two-blade head like a Magnus Stinger or a single bevel or something like that, that has very little resistance, that really goes in super easy, okay? That's the ticket. Build the high front of center arrows, and anywhere from say 450 to 500 grains or a little more. I think if you pass 500 grains, it's detrimental. I truly think it's detrimental, and I'll tell you why. And I've shared this in other videos, because you just rob yourself of any performance you're going to get out of a light poundage bow, because the arrows just absolutely tank. There's not enough energy in a bow of that poundage to have any decent cast on an arrow that weighs much more than 500 grains. It's just like lobbing it with your arm. You don't get any kind of speed and performance at all. And you don't have to have it. If you can stay between the 450 and the 500 grain range, maybe 520 or 30, you're gonna get plenty of penetration, but you'll also get a lot more distance out of your arrow before it wants to drop. And that is critical, guys. It really is. I mean, when you're shooting a slow bow, you have to have momentum to get penetration. The momentum is really critical. I'm gonna show you guys how good these arrows fly. My latest build for a light poundage bow. Standard diameter, 500 grain arrow. Show y'all how good they actually fly. Very, very good. Yes, they do. Can't beat them. So you can go with standards, or you can go with slim diameter arrows. It doesn't matter. So I'm gonna shoot these a couple times for you. As soon as the old dog gets out of the way. He's so old, he's ancient. Still likes to get in front of me every time I shoot. I think he just does it on purpose. Anyway, I'm gonna show y'all how good a 500 grain standard diameter arrow shoots out of a 39-pound bow at my draw. Watch how good these things fly. It is absolutely amazing. Amazing. Look at that. I mean, when it comes to traditional equipment, some stuff's just better than others. And when I say better, some stuff's a lot easier to shoot than others are, okay? Old battle bows, for instance. I've done so many videos on Jonathan's bows for a reason, and he is one of my closest friends, okay? Brother in Christ, you know, just hunting, but everything. I love Jonathan Adams because he is salt of the earth. We hit it off the day that we met at the Tennessee Classic through Trevor Fielder of Triple T Strings. Trevor introduced us, and we just instantly become, I mean, we just got tight real quick. You know, his family, my family, I mean, we really did. And flat out, the man builds a world-class longbow. Simple, but absolutely amazing bows, okay? I mean, he just does. I've never shot one of them that I wouldn't just love to own. None of them, no matter what length, what anything. So, you know, sometimes it does make a difference. Sometimes, you know, if you're willing to go that route and step up and get a custom bow. And there's lots of good bowyers. Oh my gosh, there's so many of them. So many good bows all over the whole country. And there is a huge difference. There truly is. When you verse it against budget bows that you have to do so much to make them quiet enough that a deer is not going to jump the string, it's a battle to get a budget bow quiet. A Chinese budget bow is just absolutely loud out of the box. You've got to work on them. Now, I can do it. I've made all mine quiet, but they don't come that way. These kind of bows do. You don't have to do all that stuff to these. You don't. It's just absolutely awesome. So there is a difference. I mean, you take like anything, these Black Widows, Big Gems bows, I don't care what they are. You get them, you just string them up, put any kind of silencers on them, shoot any decent arrow weight, and the bows are just quiet. They're hunt ready. You know, so there's a difference in owning a custom bow versus not. There truly is. But yes, you can make a cheap bow shoot excellent. You can. You just have to do it. Back to the arrows. These arrows are super, super well tuned for this bow with this 300 grains on the front. They are. That is amazing. Truly amazing. All right, guys, so what I'm gonna do, I've backed up about 27 yards, something like that. It's a little over 25 yards. And I'm gonna shoot these arrows with the 300 grains on the front because, like I said, these are a little over 500 grains, all right? So this is where it really tells when you're shooting, you know, that's why you don't wanna pass 500 grains pulling any 39 pounds, because you are obviously going to see a lot of drop at that kind of distance. Well, these, and this is out of a longbow now. So I'm gonna shoot a normal instinctive shot and try to tell a little bit about, okay, how much do they seem to be dropping? To me, is it really noticeable? Because I know inside of 20 yards, they're absolutely great. I know that. But I just wanna see if I can make a shot shooting this weight of an arrow. Or are they just gonna absolutely drop out of the sky and hit the ground and no hope for it? That's what I gotta do. Oh yeah, no problem, no problem. Dead in there, two of them just dead in there. So yes, 500 grain arrow, 25 yard shots are no problem. They are no problem at all. There's almost no adjustments, okay? You naturally know, you know, you got to elevate a little bit more than you do at 18 or 20, just a little bit, but it's not much. So yes, you can shoot this weight of an arrow out of this draw weight of a bow, absolutely no problem. Yes, you can. So that's pretty cool. That would be a dead deer, and I would definitely take that shot. So pretty cool. Till next time, guys. God bless you.